Okay, we're recording. Hello, everyone, and welcome to one more episode of Black Frame, the podcast, the best podcast out there of any podcast, but at least, well, not at least, the best podcast, but also the best podcast about movies and films and trivia and everything related movies. So, yeah, welcome back. Third episode. 1 week off, but we're still here. We haven't died, although we almost did. Isn't that
Yeah.
right, Ivy?
Well, technically, we were supposed to start shooting this episode last week. Unfortunately, we're in a pandemic, so I ended up catching COVID, and under those circumstances, Marco and I do work outside of this together, so I ended up not only quarantining myself from the world, but I had to have Marco quarantine as well.
Yep. She got stuck in her apartment, and I got stuck here in some weird red basement, Soviet basement. Shelter. It's a bomb shelter. You probably don't see it. There's probably no video of this, but it is a basement. There are shelves with canned goods and a red light.
Yeah, if you saw this video, I mean, I took pictures of us doing a Zoom call right now because this is a little different from what we usually do.
Yes, that's true. This is also a Zoom call, so the sound might be a little different. So different, in fact, you may think I have an accent.
Yeah, he actually has a Jerry Seinfeld accent.
What are you talking about? I don't have an accent at all.
Yeah.
It's
so yeah,
Zoom call.
You and I are still quarantined. We haven't seen each other in what, like 3
months?
Yeah, pretty much. It goes that
Probably,
way.
yeah. It's probably like 3 weeks.
But the show must go on, and we're continuing our podcast. So we've decided to do it through Zoom.
Yeah, that is right. Because while we were in isolation, it turns out it was pretty easy to have enough time to watch more movies.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did during my time. I'm still not, better. I'm trying to get better, but
yes,
that's what I've done: sleep and watch movies and work from home.
Yeah, I didn't work as much as her because I cannot work remotely, but I did watch movies. And yeah. So anyways, back to the episode. The movie we watched, Ivy, turns out was not for once a musical.
Yeah, it's a
yeah. However, it was a horror movie. So it's like we have to choose either a musical or a horror movie or both. Yeah, so far it's been both. But we can't get away from one of those genres apparently. And the movie actually, it's called It, but it's not the movie based on the book It, which is why this is how I convinced Ivy to watch this movie, because she thought it was gonna be It. But no, this is It, Terror from Outer Space.
How could that thing have gotten aboard?
And why? Just to kill us?
What is the usual reason an intelligent creature kills?
It's hungry? What made you so certain it's intelligent, Colonel? Not just an animal.
It opened the door to C compartment.
In the silent void of outer space, puny man matches his cunning against a monster from Mars running rampant, howling for all the flesh and blood on Earth.
That's right. That's what that movie is about. It, Terror from Outer Space. And as you could tell from the trailer, this movie is actually quite old. It's a 1950s movie. But yet, Ivy is nodding, saying yes.
Oh, I
Indeed,
forget it because I forget we're audio.
this is a
When I see
podcast.
myself on camera, I'm gonna stare at myself on camera, and if I'm nodding, I assume that I'm doing fine. It's the COVID. It's all the COVID in my head.
It's something in your head, yes. But yeah, this movie, it's one of those old. It's not a classic, which is why we're doing it in this podcast. It's definitely something that just happened to be free to watch with ads on YouTube. But it is pretty good. I mean, for a movie from that time, it's a sci-fi movie, and you get what you signed up for. It's straightforward movie. It's a straightforward plot, and if you like those old movies, you can't go wrong with it.
I mean that this movie, I love watching my classic, RKO, black and white, um, kind of films, and I think this one just kind of was up my alley. So I enjoyed it. I mean, it had its really funny parts, its memorable parts, and some parts that I just, I was like, well, it reminds me of like other films I've seen, and it got me in this roller coaster of watching black and white films since I've been in quarantine. So I enjoyed it.
Can you repeat that? It sounded like a chipmunk.
Oh, my bad. I thought I sounded like the Peanuts, like the teachers. No, I mean I enjoyed this film. I love black and white films. I love RKO films. I love I guess like really bad horror. I guess you can say.
It wasn't too bad, but yeah, it's one of
No,
those.
it wasn't bad, but yeah, it was one of those films that, just those classics that,
Yeah,
kind of
and you
hidden.
and you know it's funny because when you think of horror movies, you think of a movie that has to scare you. But
Yeah.
then I think people forget that the old classical horror movies from those times, they weren't really like scary, scary. At least not for us anymore. But they were still interesting. They're interesting to watch, and their plots were um a lot more fun.
I think they were a lot like simple.
Yeah, there's this, the sci-fi was really just sci-fi.
Yeah.
None of them really had, like, they knew that rockets could get us to space, but everything else was just out of someone's imagination. And like nowadays everything's a little too sciencey. Everyone asks too many questions, and in these older movies is like, nah, we don't know what's out there for real, so we're just gonna come up with something.
But I like that. I like when, especially like those kind of films, they're simplistic enough to just you're not so drawn, I guess, by the overly acting, even though there was some overly acting in this. But it's to be expected. But it was simple enough to just enjoy the storytelling of the film.
Yes.
That's what I enjoy about
Yeah, I like that. It's straightforward. You, you don't, and not you don't need to know the life story of every single character, including the monster, and they don't do that, which is it's nice sometimes. I mean, in some movies it works, and some other movies it's just like, I don't need to.
Yeah, and I get it, and I feel like when you told me, let's do this film, I was gun ho for it, even though I was expecting like a clown to pop
Yeah.
out.
Honestly, the reason why I wanted to do this film just because I wanted to do the slogan, like the name of the episode. I just knew I needed to do like it, but not the it you thought or something like that. Episode 3, it,
He
not the
comes
one you're thinking of, or something like that. Just kind of
back.
like play a switcheroo on people. But the movie, it's good though. That's
I
a
mean,
good
all of them
upside.
were good. All of them. All of them. But so yeah, so I mean, let's dive into the film. So
Yes.
you want to talk about what the film was about, so that
Yeah, I mean the main thing about this movie is if you've seen the movie Alien, um, That's it. The movie is a sci-fi movie. It starts off in Mars, and then it's a whole crew that has just rescued a man that got stuck in Mars, and he's the only survivor. And then there turns out to be an alien stowaway in the ship. And again, if you've seen the movie Alien or Aliens, the alien starts killing everyone, starts going through the ship. It's hard to kill, but then at the end, they manage to kill it. Bum bum bum. Dun, dun, dun.
So, sequel one, two, three, four, five. How many aliens are there?
Uh, the last one, I think it's like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Unless you
One,
count Alien versus Predator.
oh, don't get
I
me started on that
I
one.
love that movie, but that's not the movie we're talking about, Ivy.
Yeah,
But either way,
but
that's the plot. The plot is that's as simple as it comes, and that is the movie. It's a simple plot, but it works because who doesn't just like that's the fun thing about horror movies. The plot doesn't have to be a complex plot to work.
that's true. But I mean, so you were saying you were even telling me so this film it I guess inspired Alien, right? I love how you're drink. By the way, if this like video doesn't show, Marco's having a nice beverage that I can't have, and I'm very envious.
It's called hot cocoa, but you can't taste it.
Yeah, I can't taste anything right now.
Hot cocoa with marshmallows. With
Uh,
marshmallows.
marshmallow. But I was when I was watching the film, we were talking a lot about the acting, right? So I hate that you're showing me this cup. Sorry. Um, I just want a beverage. So the acting, there was good acting, and there was really over the top acting, and then there was, I guess, like a balance of good and bad acting.
Well, it was 1950s acting. There was, back then. I'm pretty sure that overacting was a lot more common, right?
Yeah, I mean, they tend to also break the fourth wall a lot too. Like there was a part, like there was a scene in
I
the
did not see
film.
that.
I think there was a scene in the film when they're trying to go into like I guess like the vents,
Yeah.
and one of the actors is kind of like he looks at the camera and he's like, "I'm going in," and then he goes in, but he looks at the camera, tells the camera, and goes into
Oh,
the vent.
okay, yeah, yeah. I
So
well, I
like,
think I think it's meant. When I saw that, it looked like he was just telling that to someone in front of him.
oh no, he
Like
was
it didn't
straight
feel
up.
to me like he was breaking the camera. I mean, like he was breaking the fourth wall. Sorry,
I mean, if he broke the camera, then he pretty much owed the cameraman.
that would
But
have been a good blooper. Oops.
I know, right? Oops, sorry. But like I enjoyed some of the acting from some of the characters, especially like the main character, which was the guy that gets stuck, who was originally stuck in space,
Yeah,
comes
yeah, yeah.
back. Like he was a really good actor. Like he was very simple. Like I believed him. It's like I believe that you did
Yeah.
not murder your crew. Like it was very top notch, you know. But everybody else around him was like super dramatic. Like even the women in there,
Yeah,
dramatic.
yeah, every like that main guy, the main protagonist was a film actor, and then everyone else was a theater actor. As in, everyone else was like their reactions were a lot more visible. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way. Yeah, I like the guy, one of the first guys that ends up. No, not the guy that ends up dying. The guy that loses his friend in the duct, and he goes like, "No, we have to go back to him."
Oh, his brother.
Oh,
It
there we
was
go. But every time he gives his lines, it's like, oh, it's like a William Shatner kind of guy. Like,
felt that. I
like
felt
he
like
had
it was
the
Star Trek.
he had the like the slick back hair. It's like, no, we cannot leave him back there.
No,
We have
we
got to go back. We we have got to go back, man. like they told him to freak out, but it was like a very theatrical freaking out.
Yeah. And then there was another thing too. I found it very odd. Like, granted, yes, it's from the 50s, and it's supposed to be kind of just like simple.
Yeah, this was also an independent film, so I think that has something to do with it.
Maybe, but I just did not understand like this weird love triangle that they were trying to set up in the
Yeah, you
movie.
you you have to throw in some romance in there. It's
Yes, but it
there's
was just
there's
like,
no there's no it's if you don't throw the romance in there, it's only a horror movie, not a sci-fi movie.
oh my god,
Yeah,
romantic.
well, but that the love triangle isn't like it's only added like towards the end. Like it didn't have like a large significance in the film. So that's why I didn't that's why I didn't think it was too much. I didn't have an issue with it because of that. It's like, who cares? They barely care. Like at least the woman didn't care.
But that's what I'm saying. You said it yourself. It wasn't significant. Then don't add it at all. Like it didn't even need to be added. Like it
True.
didn't have to be there.
Yeah, but then if you don't add some sort of sexual tension, there's no reason for the women to be in it at all. I mean,
Okay, now you're just setting us women back way behind.
let's
But
let's we here's the thing. Here's the part that I liked about this movie. Well, no, I didn't like it. I thought it was funny. There's women in this in there. We have to remember the whole plot is that these are people that are on the way back from Mars in a small spaceship,
yeah,
and it's in the 50s. Although the movie's supposed to be set in the 70s, and like what three of the people in the ship are women.
yeah.
And the first time you see the women do anything on camera, they're serving the men coffee. Like, so, like your first, my first thought was, is that the only reason these women are in the spaceship so they can be waitresses to this man? Turns out there were medics, but it's hilarious. I mean,
And they were serving food as well.
oh yeah, like they were the nurses and medics, but also they made coffee and food.
I know. They were like the maid. They did everything that's most
So
women
although
do.
also they were the ones that figured out all like how the how the bite of the monster kills someone. Remember, so they were also like scientists.
Yeah.
Like nobody else was trying to figure that out but the women.
Well, that's what usually happens is that women have to take care of everything because then men panic.
Yeah, but I think the point here is that had there not been some sort of romance, they would not have been in this movie at all, though. 'Cause, I mean, the sexism from the day was very clear.
That is
It was,
true.
it was. I thought it was hilarious to see that. I was like, wow, things have
No,
changed at least a bit.
I was actually, when I first watched this movie, I was actually very excited to be like, oh, women scientists, women nurses, like these women are taking care. They have like the same roles as the men in this, spaceship. And then I talked to you about the film, and you're like, did you notice that the women were serving the men
Like the
coffee? And
first
then
thing
that
is like, how do you like your coffee? How do you like your coffee, boys?
just oh my God. But yes, I noticed that after you pointed it out, and I was just like, okay, I thought this was like that one film that's like empowering women that, we can do just as much. And you just set me back a little bit on it.
Yeah, for their time. It probably was quite a novel thing to see women in space, and they were doctors and scientists,
There you go.
or whatever the film needed them to be, because the guys didn't do much but shoot.
They shoot, they cried, they talked to the camera, and one of them got dearly sick, and he was a big baby, and he was
He
dying,
he
and his
he
biggest concern.
he almost gave his life at the end, even though he was sick. He tried to save everyone.
I'm just saying, like, if I'm dying, I'm gonna worry about dying. I'm not gonna worry about the girl that's taking care of me. Like, do you really like that guy? Like, that's not my
But
intention.
he was the captain, so he gets to be a baby. I don't
Oh,
know. because he was the captain. Remember, he was like the main honcho until
Yeah.
he gets bit, and then he goes to sick bay for the rest of the movie, which was like just one level up in a terrace. Like it's a cool design for the ship.
Yeah. It was a simple design actually. That's what I liked about this movie is that the background didn't take away from I guess the storyline of it all. Like it was like how you say like theater acting. The background is just kind of
Yeah,
like simple,
yeah,
but enough to tell the story.
yeah.
I like that.
I mean, I think that's how one of the reasons how you can tell the movie wasn't like a big budget movie because it was definitely quite contained. But
Yeah.
for the movie itself, it works pretty well.
Yeah. The one thing though, I did not I mean, it was cool before I saw it. And I know you're laughing because you know I'm gonna bring it up. The creature, the guy
It
in the suit,
with the
not
balloon.
with the balloon. Yeah, he floats the balloon.
he he was crawling pretty much under them within the ducts at some point. So that's a little similar to the clown.
I mean, they all float really in space. If you but when I saw, like, I knew what he looked like. I knew what it looked like because I saw. I hate that you're drinking. Sorry, guys. It's just I can't have any drinks because I can't taste anything. Anyway, but the creature dude in the suit, he like I knew what he looked like, so I knew it was cheesy looking,
Oh
and
yeah,
you know,
it's a 1950s monster. That's all you have to.
yeah. But I've seen really good 1950 monsters too. Just
What?
saying. Yeah, think about it.
I'm thinking. I
And
can't think of
you
any good monsters from 1950s in rubbery suits.
the creature from the Black Lagoon was a good one.
How is that much better?
That was a better costume concept than it. Like,
Slightly. You can
no, it
still
was
tell
actually.
it's some dude in a rubbery suit.
You know what? When you guys want like listen to this podcast, please comment wherever you can and say
I mean, because
if you agree.
I'm comparing. When I think of monsters, I think of it, the clown, or Alien, the actual xenomorph from the actual Alien movie, or
Yeah, but you're talking
Predator.
about like you're talking about way like from this movie compared to movies that were made in like the 80s, 90s. Of
Alien
course,
was from the 70s.
okay, one from the 70s. But of course their costuming is better. But you have to like you gotta be like fair. You have to compare it.
Okay, Werewolf from American Werewolf in London. That's from
Okay.
the 70s. That's much better. I'm just saying, when it comes to monsters and the 1950s, they're all cheesy. Look, they don't. None of them look really that threatening. Threatening. They mostly look funny, to me.
I've
Like,
seen some good
think of Frankenstein, like the 1950s Frankenstein. It's
which
just,
was a good monster.
it's
If you
more it's more funny.
yeah.
Like the only think of the Mummy. Did you ever really feel threatened, like scared by the Mummy from the 1950s
No,
movie?
I didn't, but I felt envious that he had toilet paper all over his body. You know how
Oh,
hard it is to take?
what has 2020 done to us, really?
I know.
Did you ever think you would ever say that?
I know.
Just,
I couldn't find toilet paper. That's what I'm gonna tell my kids one day. You know that?
yeah, I went through the apocalypse, and you have no clue how hard it was to find toilet
Find
paper.
toilet paper. But
uh,
no, I mean, when I look at the creature, the it creature, like when they first introduce him, they really don't show him, as usually in
yeah,
the they don't.
and that's what I like. That's the monsters I like the most. When they're there, you have a vague idea of what they might look like, but you
Yeah.
don't. But they're only in the dark. They're only like shadows. That's why I like the first Alien so much because you don't really see the monsters, the aliens, until that one scene when they go to the docks and they see all the aliens crawling
But
in there
yeah, and I agree with you on that. And that's why I think like this movie has that same value where you don't see the creature at first and
until you do.
until you do, and then you have a comment to say. But it's all shadow and camera work, and I think
Sure.
that's what kind of makes it scary, especially maybe scary for its time.
Yeah, that's what I like about the movie. It's the lighting and stuff. It's so dark, and
Mhm.
it creates that mood, that horror, classic horror movie mood. Because when you get the shots of all the people up, where it's all safe, it's all well lit, and you see
Yeah.
you get the sci-fi aspect of it all, but then they switch to the monster and it's all horror. You forget it's a sci-fi movie, it's just a horror movie. That's what I like about the movie.
I mean, I do have some comments, and I told you about it.
You have a
When
lot of comments.
I do. I have no one to talk to. You don't understand how lonely I am. Um,
She does
the
not live up. She does not live by herself, FYI.
but it's almost like I do. No, erase. Um,
She
so
really does need the drink a lot more than me, guys. If you
sometimes
would if you would like to send her a care package, we will post it. No, I'm kidding. We will post the GoFundMe account linked.
that'll just be me with like my angel face.
Sure.
Then TP. Um, the costume. When you finally see it, when you finally see the monster, I instantly like wanted to run to Walmart and go buy like a what was it, like a turtle, what do you call them,
A
like a turtle,
turtleneck?
no, like a turtle onesie, like those kids onesies, like the pajamas. It looked like he was wearing one of those like turtle ones, like those cute little turtle onesies. It was
Oh,
very,
okay.
you know what I mean,
I
like
get
it
it. I get it.
looked like,
What you're saying is that kids' onesies are terrifying.
that too. Some of them are. Like I've seen some really weird ones.
That's
Like
right. That's actually what I was gonna do. I was gonna try to find a kid and put him in a Chucky costume, and then just have him run around around across the hallway to see if it scared the crap out of you.
no, I actually watched, and
This is
Marco,
why we don't live together anymore.
I know, once upon a time. Um, I remember, and you get mad at me because I've been recently getting into TikToks a lot. And one of the TikToks, I got scared because I watched it late at night. And you're going to laugh at me because you're like, you're so dumb. It was of Chucky, and it was a dog. And the dog was wearing a,
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen
and
it.
it
You get
chased.
scared?
I did. Because it looked weird. It looked weird. I
You know
mean,
that
I'm
they
scared of
they have
dogs.
the same costumes where it looks like it's like a teddy bear walking. Would you have gotten scared for that one with that one?
Yes, I would. For
Let's
another
get back. Let's get back to the movie. Let's get back to the movie. Uh,
rant.
we were talking about the costume. One of the fun facts, the trivia facts about this movie is actually about the costume. And the
Yeah,
thing is, the actor that played the monster during pre-production, he was supposed to get fitted for the costume with the costume designer. Um, and the way it worked back then was the costume designer worked out of his house, and I guess it was kind of far, not too
yeah,
far, but the actor, I guess, just didn't want to drive all the way to the designer's house to get fitted. So I guess he just sent his measurements on paper. Either way, when they got to the actual production day, um, the actor didn't fit correctly into the costume, which is, like, of course he doesn't fit because he didn't go to his fitting. Because this is a rubber costume that's tight, that's supposed to be tight on someone.
right,
Um, so apparently the part that didn't fit was the mask. Apparently they had to make holes on the eyes. So the original monster design had like cat-like eyes. So, more like streamlined, um, a little more pointy.
right.
but I guess it didn't fit correctly, so they had to cut out the eyes. And so the eyes, when you see the movie, you actually see a person's eyes, like you can
So
see
it's
the
actually
movement,
his eyes.
and that's because that's actually his eyes. Like the mask had to be, was a lot closer to his face, but that's also why you can see that the eyes are a little far away from the face.
Yeah.
But also, and this is the biggest thing, the shin didn't fit the actor. So they had to do it so that the actor's shin was was sticking out of the monster's mask's mouth. So the only way to fix that was that they had to paint the shin of the actor to look like a tongue, which is why if you watch the movie, the monster always has his tongue out, sticking out. Like his mouth is slightly open and his tongue is always sticking out. Turns out it's not because he's choking on his tongue or something. It's because the mask literally didn't fit, and
Yeah.
that's the actor's shin literally poking through. And I mean, I have to say, for the movie, they pulled it off. Like I knew it looked odd. Like I knew just like
I did too, and I
that's a
told you.
weird face.
Yeah.
But like once you get used to it, it's like, well, it's a monster. I guess it's supposed to look odd.
I mean, I even said like when I first saw the creature, to me, like it looked kind of off. It didn't look, I guess, as threatening as I saw it when it was in the shadows and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you're right, it did pull it off. Like they were able to kind of like still keep the story going without, I guess, the costume really affecting it.
Like I wish I could have been there the day of the first day of shooting when they realized like in costuming, like this is not going to work. Oh crap, this is not fitting. Oh crap, you fool, why didn't you come to your
Yeah,
fitting on pre-production? They must have, someone must have freaked out, someone must have cried.
I
I
would
don't
have.
think anyone got fired, but there must have been at least some crying or something.
But no, I mean, other than that, everything else, I think the creature just did a great job as far as the
Yeah,
monster, like just
except for my only problem was the first time you see the monster's face, which is the first time you see the monster.
right.
The first shot is like this up close shot of the face. Like, hold on, it looks like this.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
scary.
yeah, you see it? Yeah.
Oh, it's Marco.
Yeah, I did a thing on the camera. But the first thing you see once that shot gets there, you see the guy touch his face and adjust the mask. Like he literally adjusts the mask, and they kept that shot. I was like, he like, I guess you can say that he just wanted to touch his face,
Yeah.
but it's pretty obvious that he's adjusting the mask. So I was like, maybe take another shot. Maybe do it again.
Let's try this again.
But I mean, I don't think you noticed that, so maybe it was just me.
No, I didn't notice that. Like I noticed off the bat, the costume itself just looked off. But again, it didn't really affect the entire movie. I was able to watch it without caring about the costume.
True, true.
The one thing that did throw me off, that I looked at it and I was like, okay, that's odd, was the fact that the creature, there's a scene in the movie where he the people are like in one room, right, and the creature's underneath, like
Yes,
under the second level or something like that.
yes.
And two of the crew members are like, okay, we need you guys to distract so that we can go down there. And I guess I forgot what they were gonna get like grenades or something,
Yeah, yeah. Keep going.
right? And then they go down there, and then everybody else that's still up on the first level, they're like making noise, like stepping hard. And then you see the creature down below, and you see him like kind of thinking. And then it kind of looks like, if you watch that scene, it kind of looks like he's counting. Like he's like, one, two, three. Wait, where's the other two? Like he looked like he was counting to see how many people were up there, and it's like he knew right away. Oh, there's two people missing,
I
and then
think I
right away,
remember that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
think I remember that.
I
But
thought that was completely odd. I was
I
like,
I
okay,
think it was just I think no, because I think what happens, because I think that threw me off too. I think what happens in the movie is that you're su- you're sup- uh, that's the creature being on a he wasn't right below them. It was a level below them and then another level below that. And so the
right, right.
creature was on that second level below it. So I think that was supposed to be the creature being so far down that he was just doing his thing, and that's him like realizing like he can barely hear the sound coming through. So I think that's supposed to be the creature be like, oh, they're moving again. Are they moving again? Oh yeah, okay. I think they're moving again. Let's go watch what they're doing. Because I think because that what threw me off because all the levels look the same. So
Yeah,
sometimes it was hard to tell where the creature was supposed to be. Because there's one scene where the creature's like tearing through that door that they have on the stairs.
which is pretty cool, by the way. The
Yeah,
way they did that.
but because all the levels look the same, for a second I got confused because I thought he had just gone through the last level
Right.
and broken through, but then the next shot, like the crew had like this brand new door. I was like, what? And then I just realized, and then I realized that the monster had to go through like five different levels and they all looked identical. So
I
it was kind of hard to keep track of like, okay, what
what
level are these
yeah.
people in now?
But you know what? What's clever, because you bring that up, what's clever about that is that remember they show you like this very simple map, like you are here
Yeah,
and how many levels we're at. I
yeah,
think
that
they
didn't make sense too. Sometimes that didn't make sense. Like, okay, the ship when they show the ship, like I don't think there's that many levels on that ship because it's not that wide.
it's very small.
Well, because they only had like 12 feet to walk from end to end. It seems like
Yeah.
I don't know how are there 10 levels in that thing?
But I think that's why they've even put that in the film, because that's the first kind of like indication, like trying to show you this is what our spaceship looks like. We are here, and this is how many levels they're at.
Yeah, yeah. It's like before video games.
Yeah.
This was already a thing before video games.
No, before video games, you had to call in, especially if you had like Nintendo and you wanted cheat codes. You had to call in and you had to be like, hey, I'm stuck in level. Can you help me out?
Although funny enough, there was a cheat code in this movie, which was the that that vent that they try to take. Remember? But
Right.
then that didn't work. So the second cheat code was to go through the outside and do the spacewalk to go through the back at the bottom. That's the funny part because it was they did the same technique that Batman, the 1970s Batman did to make it look like they were walking sideways when they're clearly not. Like, oh, you reminded me of Batman.
And he also had a pig nose, right? Like, was that just me? Like,
Yeah, no, it definitely looked like a pig
it
nose.
looked like a pig nose. Like, it reminded me of the Twilight Zone, that one
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's the fact that it's black and white, and
Yeah,
it just remind. Because I mean, um, you know, I the Twilight Zone was just too good. So
oh,
when it comes to 1950s, nothing gets creepier or more, scarier than the Twilight Zone, even though it wasn't even a movie. At least
that's
to me.
true. I used to watch the Twilight Zone with my grandma, and there was certain episodes that I would watch that would kind of freak me out. And then they came out with the movie, The Twilight Zone, and that one freaked me out. I didn't want to get on a plane for a while.
Well, yeah, but the movie was just it was the same. They just took episodes from the
Yeah, but some of them, like, they kind of enhanced it. Like, I guess, made it scarier.
Sure. There
So,
was another one. I don't remember. There was another one like the Twilight Zone.
oh, I know what you're talking about
Yeah.
too.
They
Uh,
they have reruns of it on TV nowadays. I always forget what it's
Comet.
called. Yes.
That channel comet.
But back to this movie.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing about it that I liked that was like memorable um was just the like the science stuff. Like it was the science is there, but it's like very very little. You and I mean it makes sense because back then they probably couldn't think of what the science could have been because it was the 1950s. But I like the fact that it's not. It's not sciencey. There's no. They know they don't need too much science. They just have to tell people, well, it's hard to kill the alien, so I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, you have that one character that I forgot his name, but you have that one character that's like the know-it-all, the explain-it-all. Like to kind of give, I guess, the audience to be like, well, this is what I think is
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. It's like they had to give some explanation at some point.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't even think it needed it that much. But yeah, I mean, there was that. There's like the one or two scenes that gives a small explanation, and like, okay,
You're like, I agree with you. I
yeah, it's like
believe you.
yeah, that's good enough. But I don't know. I like that. I like the fact that I know it has a lot more to do with the times, but I like that they don't bother having to explain everything. Like
Yeah.
they just go with it, and it's I don't know. It leaves a lot more to the imagination and to fantasy rather than I don't know having to explain everything. Like I feel like that's sometimes an issue with movies like sci-fi movies nowadays. Like I know people want to like get obsessed with movies and they want to know how everything works. We're like, yeah, we don't need to now. Just
I
let the
think that
movie happen.
yeah, I think that's the I guess to me I think that's what's more scary. For especially for somebody that has like super OCD paranoia, like not having control or I guess not knowing why things are the way they are. Like
Yeah,
that's scary to me. And I
like
think with this film it makes sense. Like, you don't always know why things are
yeah.
happening.
I mean, the only issue I had with this movie was the fact that these people were on a mission to Mars and then back to Earth, and it's a rocket ship in space, very small with like 10 people, and it was full to the brim with grenades and bombs. And like when I
Yeah,
saw it, like, why are there grenades? And like they throw, and everyone has guns.
yeah,
And the moment they see the monster, everyone's shooting everywhere in a spaceship. So again, I know I just said I like that they don't need to follow the signs and stuff, but uh,
like
there's gotta be
logic.
some logic. Like is it really safe to have boxes and which they set up boxes and boxes of grenades at the
Yeah,
bottom of the ship where the rockets are to try to kill the thing. Now I mean it's a surprisingly well crafted spaceship because nothing
yeah, because it
happens,
didn't explode.
but I think in the 1950s that made sense, and nowadays it makes a lot less sense. Like, well, that's the one thing that it'd be hard to like get through nowadays. Like, I don't think that would work.
Yeah, I felt
You
that
would just die.
that was weird to me too. Especially like to me, I would be like, you set off a grenade, you're gonna cause like some kind of like breakthrough through the ship, and then your guys are gonna fly into space. Like
which
it's
is
just
how it ends.
way to ruin the movie.
Well, I said it's exactly like Alien. That's exactly what happens with Alien. Then
Yeah,
again, in Alien, they were also, blowing up. I mean, they were blowing up stuff, and they were shooting stuff in a spaceship at some point in the movie.
yeah.
But yeah, if you like Alien, the movie, or the Aliens movie, you will definitely like this movie. It's like it's a much cornier version of the movie, but it's still fun to watch, and
I'm
it's not a
sure.
long movie.
I'm sure. Like it was one of those like matinees where people went to watch and they were terrified, like for its time.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's another trivia fact. This was actually part of a double feature, which
Yeah.
is cool because I always forgot double features existed. I mean, because that's a long time to go to the movies, but they were a
These
thing.
movies were really short. That was the thing. That a lot of
This
these
movie
movies.
was like an hour or something, close to 2 hours.
Yeah, but usually like back then, a lot of those movies, like if you had a full feature was usually like 2 hours long. Believe it or not, it was like 2 hours long. That's why these films, especially like the sci-fi horror films, they were typically about an hour so that they could be a double feature.
Mm,
That's how people try to make their money.
cool. Yeah, but that's fun. I wish I could have done the double feature. I mean, like, well, I did, but actually pay for double feature and not just like sneak into a different movie right after.
Oh my God, you were one of those kids.
You did that too.
Yeah, I did. My mom would make me. I
Oh,
was
way
terrified.
to blame the mom. Way to blame the mom, Ivy.
No, I
Whoa,
was
whoa.
terrified. Like, okay,
Oh,
I'm a horrible like liar when it
yeah.
comes down to like doing kind of like sneaky stuff as far as
Sneaky,
like sneaking
sneaky.
into another movie. And my mom, like, she would take me, especially to a dollar movie. Like, okay, lady, just pay another dollar and we'll go watch another
Yeah.
movie. But my mom would do that. Like, we'd finish the movie and then she'd be like, hey, do you want to go watch another one? And I'd be like, yeah. And then she'd be like, okay, act natural and walk in. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, I was that kid. And my mom
Oh,
would get
okay.
so mad at me. Like, she'd be like, well, you could have watched two movies today, but instead you're only going to watch one.
Now I remember when I was a kid, I remember my cousins would actually write down like on our way in, they would actually write down on a piece of paper the times of the movies. That way once we were out of one, they could just look at the piece of paper and be like, okay, the next movie we can watch is this one and it's in such room. So let's go. But I did also learn through the years that you have to at least know what the movies are about. Because I remember we did that once in high school. Like I
Yeah.
went with some friends and we but actually I don't even know if we paid at all. Like for some reason in my head we either paid or we somehow snuck through the back doors. But we went to this movie. It was what's the girl that plays Wednesday in
Christina Ricci.
yeah, it was a movie. It was a werewolf movie with her in it. Uh
Oh,
I remember.
Curse.
There you go.
6 hours later.
And we then for some reason decided to go watch the other movie again after.
Wow.
One eternity later.
I miss going to the theaters. Again, we're back to reminiscing on how 2020 sucks right now, but
True.
I
Yeah.
mean, I miss theaters a lot.
It,
But I
it yeah, this is almost like an actual apocalypse. I mean, you're stuck at home, you can't taste, you haven't seen other fellow humans in months.
no,
I'm
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
I'm Mexican.
but
I
yeah.
mean, I enjoyed going to films, and I'm sure like when this film came out, people enjoyed it just as
Oh
much.
yeah. I mean, it was the movie was next the double feature. It was with wait for me here. I had it in my notes, but then it's not there anymore. The fun part though is if you actually look it up, they had a comic book run. Like two different comic book companies had a small what's it called? Like series.
Right.
The movie they like and if you look at it, the monster actually looks pretty cool in those comic books.
Well, yeah, they're not
Um,
gonna.
but I actually kind of want to buy them. At least, like, I actually have some Instagram posts ready about the comic books with the
Mhm.
details. One of the comic books, the artwork is like all the spacemen. What are spacemen called?
Astro.
Astronauts. They all have like the 1950s, tight suits. Like all the
Yeah.
women are hot with like super tight suits and just the
Oh,
bubble helmet. So like the artwork is actually pretty cool because it's like like those yeah like those 1970s comic books from, like, mysteries, or the original DC Comics
I know.
artwork, where everyone's like super hot or whatever, but yeah, everyone has laser guns. Like,
Unrealistically um proportioned
yeah,
in a
but everyone has like those little laser guns, and it's like Flash Gordon
Oh, okay.
kind of artwork, not the movie, the comic books and stuff.
Comic books.
So they look fun just for the way they did the artwork. But the movie was actually again a double feature, and it was when it was released in 1958. The other feature that you would get to watch was called Curse of the Faceless Man, which, I mean, if you don't like the movie with the weird um, Chin as a tongue costume, at least the
Right.
other movie that you would watch didn't have a face at all. So, it balances out. But it sounds fun. Maybe we should watch that at some point.
I know
Curse
we
of
should
the
just watch
Faceless Man.
that movie.
Yeah,
That one's nice. Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I saw the poster for it. I think it's a little more stupid than uh, in the plot,
Right.
but yeah, it sounds like fun. I think it's more like the Mummy. It's not. It's like less sci-fi and more like what's the Mummy, like, fantasy horror, myth
I would say
myth
that's like fantasy
horror.
movie.
But
Or thriller, maybe like a thrill horror.
yeah, let's go with that. But yeah, that's our take. That's it. Terror from Down Under. Nah, that's the sequel. We should
It
make
sounds
that.
like an Australian film from Down Under.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's the sequel, and we should make it instead of it terror from
Outer
it
space.
terror from outer space. It should be it terror from down under.
Because he was under.
It, yeah, that's where it ended up. He ended up in the outback just drinking beers and eating kangaroos.
Dingo ate my baby. See, I make a really good. You always make fun of my accents, but I have a really good Australian accent.
Yes, yes, yes,
That doesn't sound convincing at all.
yes.
Yes. Uh, so
That's
let's.
not convincing. This is no, I can't do it.
Oh God. So Marco, let's talk about our next episode. So you and I were discussing that we want to do a Christmas film, correct?
Yes, we are watching a Christmas special, a Christmas movie for a Christmas special, because even if you're not watching this in order, for us it is almost Christmas.
Yes, and I love Christmas movies, but I also love watching a lot of horror movies. So I'm hoping that maybe we can find a balance.
So, like a rom-com?
Yeah, sure. Like a horror.
Is that balance? I don't know.
I don't know. I love Christmas movies. That's what I've actually been doing recently. I've been
Yes.
watching a lot of Christmas movies. So
No, I do. I like Christmas movies, but not the ones that they play every year, because I got sick of those. But
oh, you mean like the Christmas story? A Christmas story?
yeah, but they don't even play that one as much. No, I'm talking more like the reindeer movie,
Oh,
or what is it? Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
you're talking about claymation.
All the kids Christmas movies.
I
I
agree.
avoid I avoid those just
I
as
love.
much as I avoid watching the Ten Commandments uh during um during, oh my god, when do they play the Ten Commandments? Easter.
Oh,
Easter. There you go. Easter. I have,
and this is how you know that Marco doesn't pay attention to the years. Um,
but I remember the movies. I know the seasons by the movies. But
now
yeah,
I'm gonna ask you to recite the Ten Commandments and go.
I could probably tell you a little more than that, than the actual Easter.
Oh God. But yeah, I'm excited about doing this next episode on a Christmas film.
Yes, so it will be a Christmas special with probably not so Christmassy movies, just because, again, apparently we don't know how to you know, not watch movies that are either a musical or horror or a horror
True.
musical.
We're
So,
we're not traditional.
but again, if you guys like this podcast that are listening to us, like, hi Michelle, uh, if you have a movie recommendation that you want us to discuss, maybe because you know that it's a very stupid movie and you want us rant about it or yell at each other about it, go ahead and give us a suggestion. You
Yeah,
can leave a comment or a message on our Instagram or our Facebook or our YouTube, or can you leave comments on the podcast platforms?
you know what I
uh,
mean?
just leave us a comment, leave us a message or email, whatever you can, whatever you want. I'm pretty sure it's there.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see you guys next episode. I'm excited. We'll probably, we don't know, maybe Marco and I will be together once again. That sounded so creepy. Or we'll be doing another Zoom call because I can't get better. But I'm excited. So, Marco, I miss you, friend.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we'll see you guys next podcast. So, see you.